You guys might not know this, but I love dance. Dance is one of my favorite forms of art. I just think it's so beautiful. I um I when I can, I love to go see ballet. I love ballet. I might think that ballet is more beautiful than film or television, to be perfectly honest with you. I can easily cry at watching really good live ballet, live dance. I think what it mostly is for me is that I find the physicality beautiful. I find the passion one of a kind, and the expression to be completely felt, the most amplified form of expression. Ballet, the precision, the elegance, the timing in the bodies, the emotion. I think dance is beyond gorgeous. I love dance. I can't dance at all myself, purely as an audience member. And as I've said before, I think the audience is the most important part of any form of art. That's what's so cool about art. Art turns the everyday individual into an artist, even if it's just for a millisecond as they engage and interact and interpret the work. It's the audience that transforms the piece. It's the audience that makes them touchstones of culture or forgotten relics of a bygone era. Today we're talking about Save the Last Dance. It is a 2001 film from MTV Studios starring Julia Stiles and Sean Patrick Thomas. I think it's a fairly enjoyable movie. Um, it is a dance movie, and I think that I think let's do some analysis because that's what I do on this channel. Um, I think it's really cool that MTV made this movie in the year 2001 because I think that in 2001 that was kind of a cultural shift was definitely taking place within the world of popular music, and the world of popular music is largely defined and redefined by young people, by teenagers, by youth culture. And in 2001, I feel that hip hop was starting to overtake, rock and pop punk and like uh, more kinds of, I suppose, white music. There was a paradigm shift happening in hip hop, black music, and black culture was starting to become um, trendy. Sounds like a mighty callous way of framing it, but stylish for sure. It started to become black music is what started to define youth culture, and I think that MTV making this film, MTV generally has its finger on the pulse of generations, and in a lot of ways, MTV molds and redefines generations. Um, they're kind of arbiters and tastemakers themselves, and making Save the Last Dance a story at its most superficial level about an interracial romance within a predominantly black. Oh, you're in here. Come over here. Did you like Save the Last Dance? Okay. All right. You're getting fat. So saying interracial teen romance at a predominantly black school in the urban center of Chicago. But I also think in a larger kind of meta postmodern way that the film is talking about starry-eyed, naive, uh, white teenagers um, experimenting with black spaces, being in MTV's world and in our reading, hip hop, um, and all that goes in with hip hop. I'm talking about like the culture of hip hop or the dancing of hip hop. Naive young white people experimenting with romanticizing black music and black culture as it was happening in 2001. I think that's really neat. Okay, you have got to go. You've got to go somewhere else. Say goodbye to the good people. You look so mad. You look so angry. Get out of here. Even if we take away the postmodern reading that I just applied to it as white as white people trying to identify with and occupy and romanticize and blend into black spaces of black culture. If we simply look at it as the interracial love story, I think it's pretty cool still. I think it's pretty good, especially that we're focusing on this topic uh, within the genre of teen movies, which teen movies generally are always kind of the most progressive and they're moving things forward in a lot of political ways. But the concept of race in 2001 in teen movies is still largely, I wouldn't say ignored, but not studied, not focused on. And say The Last Dance, I think, does that and does that quite well. And did you think for a second that I was done analyzing and paying tribute to my Lord and Savior, the living goddess, Bianca Lawson? If you thought that, you were dead wrong, because Bianca Lawson is my favorite part of this movie. She plays Nikki, kind of the de facto antagonist of the movie, to be quite honest.
You can do it, put your back into it. I can do it, put your ass into it. Watch me squash this shit.
Hey, didn't this movie win an award? I think Bianca Lawson won an award for this movie. Yeah, the very distinguished Teen Choice Award for Best Movie Fight Scene. Winners, Julia Stiles and Bianca Lawson. That's so fucking cool. But I love her energy. I love her bitchiness. I think she's mad, mad, mad sexy, yo. And she has, I think, my favorite scene in the movie, which is the fight and the post-fight conversation where I think they're like perfectly framed, honestly, like sitting like very far apart from each other in their yellow team jerseys. It's a really cool kind of I like the aesthetic of this movie quite a bit in a couple different places. Mostly when Bianca Lawson's on screen, the camera just gravitates towards her, and I have a huge crush on her, so. Yeah, I'm there for the Bianca Lawson scenes, but in that conversation, she says something along the lines of white women like you are like the world wasn't enough. You have to conquer our men too. And Kerry Washington's character echoes these sentiments and kind of fleshes them out a little bit more in a later scene when she's like, well, Derek's got shit going for him. Like Derek's not like these other guys, and you're here since you're white, you must be right. So and you're taking like our best men, and I think that's a kind of complicated thing to not only say within your teen film, but say it twice, meaningfully say it twice. Uh, I think Bianca Lawson just nailed this role. And I think my postmodern reading still works. Conquering the pop charts, conquering pop culture, conquering the status quo wasn't enough for you. Now you want to exploit our music, our dance, our culture, our youth, our teenage fantasies. Now white people want to do that. Like that's kind of also what Nikki is saying in that scene. I think it is very cool that MTV made this movie. I think it is very interesting that MTV made this movie because I think that the idea of a black guy and a white girl dating and that being the premise of any sort of film sounds a little passe now, but really it's just kind of depressing because, say, The Last Dance was not viewed as passe when it came out. Um, these issues and these prejudices were still prevalent in 2001. And if anything, it makes you feel good about how far we've come. We've come so far that this kind of love story wouldn't be at all controversial. Not really, not anymore. And, thank God for that. But the film also works on a different level, which helps it maintain relevancy in my head. It works on a level that this is a film made by MTV, and I think it's commenting on the newfound overwhelming appreciation and consumption of Black music and Black culture that white people, that white kids were doing at that exact time. I think it's commenting on that. I think it's commenting on culture, and I think it's commenting on music, and it's doing that through dance. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I think that dance is possibly the most beautiful form of art on the planet. And dance in film is normally very exhilarating for me. I genuinely do feel that Julia Stiles' ending number, her contemporary number for her Juilliard audition is wonderful, and I think that it conveys quite a bit, quite a lot of postmodern sentiments and concepts are conveyed through that dance, and I think it works on an extremely romantic one. My heart fluttered a bit watching Derek, played really, really well by Sean Patrick Thomas, just dashing, running as fast as he can through the city streets until he could get to Juilliard and run up on that stage and like basically tell her that he believes in her and she's gonna crush it. She's gonna do so good. His support, I thought was, yeah, extremely romantic. Yeah, like, my heart fluttered a bit. That was cool. I really liked it. And the film is making a sort of rebellious sort of statement by getting Julia Stiles into Juilliard, because now it's not just about um, curious and naive white teenagers um, adopting parts of Black culture. It's Juilliard as a whole. And Juilliard is an establishment. It's about the establishment recognizing the the beauty and the artfulness of a form of dance that is kind of implicitly seen as alien or lesser than or not within the established processes of movement and dance, like that's actually pretty cool too. There's a lot of really cool parts. The best parts of the whole movie are the ones are the parts that have Bianca Lawson in them. The best parts of the movie are the Nikki scenes, which sadly I think make up maybe 5 minutes of this movie. I want more Nikki. That feels like an entirely unresolved situation as well. I want more Nikki. I wanted more Bianca Lawson, because she lit up my life and lit up the screen every single time that I saw her. She's fabulous. I wanted to explore that sort of antagonistic dynamic a lot more. Like Derek has his own antagonist, being Kai, Malachi, like his friend who's trying to pull him into the drug world. Which I find that scenario, that narrative thread to be a bit old, a bit too fucking common, a bit too cliche. And we spend a lot more time with people like Malachi and like the fucking gangbangers than we do with where I think a far more interesting antagonistic dynamic was available with Nikki and Sarah. I would have loved to spend a lot more time on on Nikki's complaints and Nikki's motivations and Nikki as a character. That was a far more interesting thing than whatever was going on with Derek and Malachi and all that fucking lame, cliched bullshit. But all in all, this is an enjoyable movie, and I think it's a pretty important film. Um, I still think it maintains its relevance because there are a lot of postmodern motifs that run throughout it. Lightly postmodern motifs that run throughout it that I find to be still pretty incredible, and I like the way that they were conveyed. Not a bad film at all, and I will never waste an opportunity to gaze at Bianca Lawson. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed by MTV's foray into the postmodern teen film. I think that they were successful with it. I think they accomplished something pretty significant and pretty large. And I think that its significance is still felt, even if people don't know exactly why it's still resonating so much. It's resonating so much because of the comments it was making about the changing of culture, about the overwhelming new appreciation for hip hop music in black spaces. And I think that the film is well rounded, with a good head on its shoulders, and just like a great dancer, this film can move. And it can move you. It still moves me a little. I liked it.